Okay, first you have to understand the evolutionary trend of the role bullshit plays in humans' evolution and instinct, and the evolution of the instinct of assumption. Okay, so assumption is something that one can do as a result of having a certain amount of brain capacity to simulate things that will come and things that have happened already, and using those two projected moments in time to establish a path that gives advantage in a particular situation. So fiction is the property of bullshit that is usually leaned on using an instinct of faith, which is basically accepting a piece of fiction as true once it reaches a certain threshold of probability, and then risk factor is worked into there too. So these are all the religions and all these imaginations are just explosions of creative. It's a creative manifestation of an evolved human attribute of fiction generation that specifically and naturally evolved to give us the capacity to adjust ourselves and adjust our perception of the occurring world according to what we happen to need to get advantage in a particular situation. So it's not boogeyman and it's not doomsday, and no one really believes all this shit. I mean they may experience it as belief, and they may do really horrible things, which they have done. Clearly, we know this. But to understand it, not be surprised every time you see some weird fucking context where everyone's running around with like ribbons on their head and they're doing some whack shit. Like, the fact is like they're able to manipulate their body psychosomatically utilizing this evolutionary technique, which is to manufacture an environment or manufacture a lens to which the world occurs to you that is beyond belief, because belief also has its counterpart, doubt, and that's where you're not sort of sure. That's where the probability hasn't really sunken in. Once it reaches a faith level, it exceeds doubt's capacity to have. It's past the point of no return for doubt to restrain the muscles from acting, to restrain the body from transforming, to responding to what could or could not be true. Faith transforms the belief-doubt structure into absolute truth, at least as far as the body's concerned. The body will respond physiologically to the content of the fiction as if it's true once this faith level has been reached. And so what is the point of this? From a biological standpoint, what this offers is the human being has the ability to adjust their base objective attributes with ideas that may or may not be true. So if a God who loves you is looking after you, and you're afraid in a situation, you may not be so afraid. Once you become alert to the fact that death is true and that it is real and will happen, the concept of life after death, or that if you live a particular way, a fear of Santa watching you, and each environment is different. Each cultural environment is different. Remember where these originally came from. We're looking at like sort of the echo of these original old systems, which were based predominantly on observation and just sheer imagination. Some of it could come from dreams. It doesn't matter where it comes from. We recognize that at the very base of it, it's fiction, and that's not to diminish. So it's subjective, but it's not to diminish in any way its objective properties. And so metaphysics tries to touch on some of these things. Science hasn't yet really gotten around to officiating some of these concepts that have integrity and can last over time and affect people in consistent ways, cross-cultural. But ideas are technology that is made of a very different type of substance.